when you're traveling on that road, on the road called Mombasa Road, from Nairobi to Voi, sometimes you meet a bunch of baboons or monkeys that tend to behave in a very funny way. They invade cars and they try to demand that you give them like bananas or oranges. It's kind of like you have to pay to pass them, towards wherever you are going. And sometimes they are very violent, these monkeys, these baboons. They try to get things from you by force. And I have at times described the behavior of parliamentarians in Kenya, the members of parliament, in the same manner. Because when you have members of parliament demanding, as they close the parliament, and they are going probably, most of them, to seek re-election, demanding that the citizens of Kenya pay them 9.3 million shillings in gratuity and a host of other perks that included them having armed bodyguards, having diplomatic passports, having cars, most of them high gas consuming cars, domestic servants, and state funerals for their lifetime, and also including their spouses in these packages, then I don't know how else you describe that behavior, because that behavior is very inhuman. It's a behavior in which someone who is supposed to represent people is actually milking them. A lot of people in Kenya don't make a lot of money. They make very little. Probably in their lifetime, they may make what? $1,000 in dollars. Divide or times that by 80 shillings. Then you can get what a person makes within a year. The average sort of salary in Kenya. And then you have these people, because they are elected to be parliamentarians, and just because they can't pass laws, making laws that benefit themselves, it's a conflict of interest. They should never actually add their own salaries, because by so doing, they deny the people who elected them a right in probably deciding how representation should be done. Just because we elect the people to be members of parliament, we do not elect them to go there and make their own life better than the rest of us. They should make lives better for everybody. And we are very glad, especially the fact that President Kibaki seems to have rejected this. And I think Kibaki will go down in history as a good president if he surely rejects this bill, like he said, the bill that was passed. On Saturday, President Kibaki was supposed to have declined. And pongezi, thanks, shukrani, to President Kibaki. Thank you for such a sort of decision. And we know also the Prime Minister, who is also campaigning to be a president, Laila Oginga, also somehow, Laila Odinga, sorry, Oginga is the father, then somehow also rejected this in his campaigns. He said that it's very much unacceptable. And I think for Oginga, if he makes decision of that sort, then somehow he seems to be someone who is electable. With the Kalonzo, we hope that Kalonzo will make us a statement. I don't know what the young presidential candidates, Luto and his presidential mate Kenyatta, are going to say about this. And again, this was something that was passed by around that members of parliament. That's a very small percentage of all the parliamentarians, and it shows how greedy the members of parliament have been. And I hope that since we are going to elect members of parliament and also senators, we will make sure that this sort of behavior is not repeated. Unfortunately, I won't be on the ballot. I hope that I'll be in the ballot for a senator, independent senator, in Laikipia County. Unfortunately, I could not make it as an independent senator, a senator who is not tied up to any party. But the whole issue doesn't mean that I won't contribute anymore to Kenyan politics. I'll be there and I'll be contributing. And one of the things that I wanted to do if I was elected as senator for Laikipia is to ensure this kind of behavior, this kind of monkey bamboo behavior of actually taking the public citizens or the citizens of Kenya for a ride comes to an end. Because we elect people not to go and enrich themselves. We elect people to represent us, to improve our standards of living. not to go there and reach themselves. Look at what they are asking. It's as if that they are making politics seem like a career. They now have become career politicians. They are entitled to it. And now most of them still think they're entitled to be re-elected and do the same behavior or do the same things that they did in the last parliament. Like they say in Swahili, to make a tar. We refuse that kind of behavior. And Kenyans should reject anybody who participates in that kind of stealing from public funds. It's a backdoor sort of theft. It's a public kind of theft. It's open, but it's still theft in the sense that one knows exactly what they are doing. Where is this money coming from? And why this kind of money cannot be spent in the constituencies where these people come from or which they represent and which they are going back to seek re-election, most of them. This kind of behavior is too much. Kenyan parliamentarians have been known around the world to be a kind of very funny bunch. And that's very bad because we do have very good parliamentarians. We have very good M.P.s. And we have very good, conscious people in parliament. But unfortunately, they get messed up by this kind of behavior where last minute, you want to kick. And just because you're getting out, you want to protect yourself. You want to give yourself a safety net. Kenyans don't have a safety net. Why are you seeking a safety net when you represent people who have none? Shame, 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 shame. For real, it's shameful. And we hope that we are going to get members of parliament who are conscious, who are ethical, who have a conscience, who can think about poverty in our country. And the mere fact that the everyday citizen of Kenya is suffering. And knowing that suffering, they should be ashamed even to go around asking for votes. Put me back there so that I can go and eat more. This is Nehemy Kihara. And of course, like I said, unfortunately, although a lot of people wanted me to be in the Senate representing Laikipia, my name won't be in the ballot because I could not succeed in going in as an independent candidate. I didn't want to join any party. I've been asked by a few people to join certain parties. Unfortunately, that's not why I was going to Senate. I wanted to go independent and think independence represent people, not parties. But God is good. I'm not yet done. Be blessed. Be safe. Especially for you Kenyans, elect people wisely. Don't elect people who tend to behave in that particular behavior that I mentioned. May God bless you and may God give us good leaders.